Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's edition of the Just Us Review, where we like to take our favorite shows, whether they be superhero based or supernatural, break them down and give you guys that knit and that grit. And you know us, we like to keep it real. If we like it, we love it. If we hate it, you gonna know about it. And today, I want to talk about a subject that, some people have brought it up, and it's the Flash. And some people are like, you guys used to be consistent about the Flash. Why don't you cover it anymore? And you know what? Similar to our Arrow review, we're going to give you guys the breakdown into the fall of the Flash. And there's a lot of them. So strap in, everybody, because it's about to get real. Who wants to take the first lead to this?
So I'll start off. So you said that people have been asking us about it. I don't know if y'all remember. Let's set the premise up. If y'all remember, we told y'all we were done. Y'all didn't believe us.
We gave it one more episode, and as a matter of fact, it was the episode with the
Valentine's Day or something?
Yeah, the Valentine's Day episode.
Okay.
That was probably the worst one to show us.
Probably should have checked the calendar before we made that claim.
So there's a lot of stuff that goes wrong with the Flash. That started out pretty good. As CW shows go, it was pretty okay in some areas.
So, but I would just say first season was great.
Yeah, I'll give them that much.
First season was great.
Mm-hmm.
But then it was a couple of things, and we're about to break them down, that made the show to the point where it was infuriating to watch. Yeah, it was fun tearing it a new one every now and then, but it became a chore to watch. But let's go ahead and go through those. One of these had to be, for me, let's go through some of the characters that actually hurted me. Before we go to writing, plot, anything, the character breakdown.
If we're gonna do that, should we go ahead and address the main character?
No, we're gonna save that for last.
Okay.
That could be a thesis state. That could be a paper on itself.
Okay.
We could do a seminar about the fuck ups of Barry Allen.
I
But-
say let's go ahead and include him.
But he's on the tail end.
Okay.
Okay, Wells. Now we get introduced as Wells through.
First of all, Tom Cavanaugh.
Yes. First, he's played at Eobard Thawne, who is later the Reverse Flash. But the essential character of Wells has always been structured as the mentor aspect. No matter what universe after we start playing with other universes, Wells has always been the mentor aspect, the aficionado, the source of truth that you can go to, that Team Flash could look up to for guidance. Now, when it more through the meta aspect, while Joe West on the other end was more of the emotional family aspect of it. They represented two separate roles, but they played them to perfection.
And I would like to point out, if you ever seen Wells back, I think maybe this was OG Wells or second Wells from like Earth 2 or something like that, when he and Joe West got into a room, it was like two grown men talking about like real life and family and everything. I love that dynamic.
Exactly. It didn't matter what their specialty was, what their field was. You just knew you were in the presence of two grown men who have lived through some things and had history and could converse with each other on the same level as equals. Now, when the show started off, that was brilliant because you had a young upstart team that was trying to grow up and develop into its own. And I was thinking, just as long as you have those linchpins, you were okay to go. Then the show starts to fall off the rails. First,
I'll let you go, but because I think you're about to say the first issue of where he fell off.
Go ahead.
I have a different first issue for me. So for me, this is gonna sound contradictory, but everything y'all said was correct. But it was also the first starting point for where things went wrong, in my opinion. And the reason why that is he was playing that great father figure, grown man character that was juxtaposed to Joe. And he was also playing in season 1 that dynamic villain that to me no one has topped. No villain on the Flash has topped him as a villain.
Which is ironic considering, and I hate to bring up another show, but over in Arrow, like some of the villains the villainy got better as the season progressed, and then it dropped to where we got Diaz.
But over on Flash, it never got better than Wells. But here's the problem with that. Tom Cavanaugh, he was playing Eobard Thawne wearing the skin of Harrison Wells in this universe. So then, so and that was and that
introduced real Eobard Thawne.
And that was my issue. They never should have done that, because then the later seasons go on, and we look at Harrison Wells, who, as far as I know, is a made-up character for this show. I don't think he's in the comics, but we go to different universes and we see different Harrison Wells. We don't explore any other Eobard Thawne.
No, we don't.
And to me, he was purely Eobard Thawne in season 1. And then when they revealed the real Eobard Thawne, who was nowhere near as dynamic as he was, is like, no, I don't accept that.
And they knew they messed up too, because after Eobard Thawne was released, they was like, well, we don't have as good as Reverse Flash as we did, so we're gonna inexplicably have him have the same face as Wells, even though he's been exposed as Eobard.
I will say this: we don't watch this show. We don't go there. Legends. I heard that Eobard Thawne who showed up on there, he was using the real face. That he was a standout character over there.
So, and that doesn't make any fucking sense, because how is he over there?
So I'm gonna say this.
We don't watch that
show. I'm gonna say this too. I think they let Tom Cavanaugh. They gave him too much freedom as these seasons progressed. Because here's the thing. This isn't your fucking portfolio so that you can get back into movies. 3 people saw Yogi Bear.
He was in that?
Yes.
He was Ranger already.
So hold on. So picking up off where he just left off.
I'm not finished. 3 people saw Yogi Bear. Not for you. And now you're on this show, and yeah, you caught our attention in the first 2 seasons with the 2 Thawnes or Harrison Wells that you were playing or whatever. Then the 3rd season, you just said you were gonna do whatever the fuck you want, and we got a Cowboy Wells, we got a Hick Wells. Just stop it. Just be one Wells.
So here's my thing. What they should have did was, in season 1, Harrison Wells should have been a fake name for him existing in this time, because he was always Eobard. He didn't take anybody's face. It's just when he came back here, he was like, I'm establishing a life here, and my name is Harrison Wells. Because in my opinion, what would have been better going forward is, if we're going to get alternate Tom Cavanaughs, they should have been alternate Eobard Thawnes. And the whole thing should be, well, how long before this one?
How can I trust you when you have the face of my enemy?
And how long before this one turns evil? Because what it originally was how can I trust you when you have the face of my enemy? Now it's, I know that you're evil in my main universe. How long before you fuck up? Yeah. Before your version fuck up.
So let's get back to it.
So leading off to what they said, the show was looking to be more comedic or trying to turn a different angle. It seemed like this character wanted to do more, and the studio, whatever, placated him. Because now you get all these fringe cases of Wells, but all they do is detract from the main story, which apparently there was none because the writing was so scarce. Now, introduction of with Wells slowly deteriorating, which I respect what they tried to do. They tried to pull Wells to the back so that the team could grow, which was a smart choice. But the problem is the team didn't fucking grow.
So that what you just said, when did they do that?
So when they did the Council of Wells, and they did the whole thing where, Wells does his own thing, and he explores his own thing with Dibney, and he tries to train Dibney and all that shit. They try to pull him further back to the forefront so that the team can actually work. Because essentially what they want to do is so Cisco can be on his own. He doesn't need the mentor aspect anymore. He doesn't need the training because he is his own man. They wanted the team to grow up to the point where they didn't need that father figure anymore watching them all the time. Because otherwise, you got a bunch of kids and this mentor.
But at the same time, and I want us to jump off of Wells after at this point. Every season it was, we need a new Wells. That never failed.
And it was because we needed to keep Tom Cavanaugh on the show.
And
like the characters themselves were like, we need a new Wells. And I would say the last Wells that I this was back when I was watching the show, but the French whale, the Sherlock whales or whatever, like he
That was the only one that really was like.
he tried to work independent of the team because he came in with the job.
Minus the shtick of the
whole
accent bull shit. Yeah, he was working.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this. I thought it was a neat idea when they made him pariah before the crossover. Before the crossover, because it made sense if you know the character and what it was leading to with the crisis and shit like that. It was clever to make him pariah.
They just executed it wrong.
After that,
he's serving a purpose after that.
yeah, after that, like they just should have not had a Wells because I don't know what's going on right now and all it is, but like he's wasted space now.
But again, the fluctuation of Tom Cavanaugh was a problem. Another problem that I want to go to is Cisco Ramon.
Yes.
Cisco Ramon was one of the most dynamic characters that they introduced. I loved his flavor, his style. I loved the fact that he was a geek and he knew he was a nerd.
He was the geek on the show for us.
Exactly.
Like he was the meta. We call it meta, whatever.
Yeah, meta. Meta.
Yeah.
So the problem with Cisco is that when he became Vibe, he became too powerful, and that's the problem. Is you have he had godlike abilities, and when you have godlike abilities that can answer all your questions. It's hard to write a story that's competent where you can say, well, Cisco can just solve that and breach it somewhere.
So, I want to push back a little on that because technically Barry has godlike powers too.
But Barry's a child.
Well,
We'll get to that.
his mental state withstanding. My thing is not the fact that how they built him. It's the writing around him.
No, but in most of the instances, and I watch this from episode to episode, because when I do the breakdown, I would actually say in this position, Cisco literally could have done X, and that would have been it. Yeah. But no, they had to pad this out for like another 20 minutes.
I get what he's saying because and this has been one of our major questions when we started watching The Flash. When you have a speedster, a person who can move as fast as Barry Allen does, The Flash, how do you consistently make a show and keep us interested?
Exactly.
If a guy that can move that fast, he should solve every crime.
And ironically, putting Cisco in, he's another guy that technically can move fast, or rather move anywhere he wants to.
And Cisco's powers were, like you said, becoming godlike like Barry's. And they kind of wrote themselves into a hole where it's like, they did a Ragman. It was like, what do we do with this strong character? Because we actually submitted a question back to Collider a long time ago when they was doing their Flash after show reviews. And I don't know if you remember when there was Evil Vibe and Evil Killer Frost. We sent a question and asked, was it a mistake to kill off Evil Vibe? Because that was a compelling character that could have been a ploy for them going on throughout the series, but they killed him off as soon as they introduced him.
And in most cases where it was Cisco on the show, and this was in later seasons, Cisco would be over here tinkering with something while Barry's dealing with this life-altering thing. And I was like, okay. Or like the worst thing they could have done was the Cure. The Cure was the dumbest thing that they've ever could have.
The Cure to me said that they ran out of ideas. But I'm going to tell y'all something. The fix for that problem is that actor should have never been playing that character. He should have still been there, but they never should have put Vibe on the show. And look, this goes back to these comics don't have a lot of people of color in them, or they didn't. They're trying to catch up now. So in the comics, Barry Allen's supporting cast is mostly white people. So they probably felt like if they were going to put a person of color in the main cast to be around him all the time, then he had to be a named character so that people can look forward to something. He couldn't just be a person.
Well,
I like that he was Vibe.
There was nothing wrong with Vibe.
Well, the reason why I say that Vibe shouldn't be there is because, look, in the comics, in the show, he is overpowered. That's the long and short of it. So if you're telling me I'm getting a show and this character is gonna be on the show, I'm expecting him to do those things. And in a show like The Flash, where he's already a god tier character, and I'm reading that this new show, The Flash, is starting this fall. Look who's in the cast. This God A cast, he's gonna play Vibe. And I'm like, so you're putting two god characters on the show.
So,
well, I feel like he suffers, not as much, but he suffers the same problem that Elongated Man, Firestorm, Mr. Terrific over in Arrow suffer from. These were lead characters. These are lead characters in their own right when they get the chance to be lead characters, and they had to diminish them to be sidekicks to honestly fucking losers.
but like that, essentially that was my problem with Vibe. Is like as the season came on, they make him do ancillary stuff to keep him from the main storyline. Yeah. But getting off Vibe from a second, let's go straight into Caitlin Snow. Caitlin Snow was one of the most useless characters ever created.
Yeah, I would say Caitlin Snow was the first character to falter as we going straight into season 2. Really, one somewhere between 1 and 3. It became essential. It's like, why is Caitlin Snow?
Can I be real with y'all?
It was legitimately like her only role was to be the victim.
I feel like they wanted that actress, but they didn't know what they wanted her to play. So they slotted Killer Frost as a character.
Well, you know, Caitlin Snow is made up, right?
Yeah.
No, she's in the comics.
Yeah.
No.
Killer Frost is in the comics. No. They made up Caitlin Snow.
Go read Justice League versus Suicide Squad.
Is this recent?
This is a few years ago.
Yeah, after the Flash TV show.
Yeah, I guess.
So here's an issue with the biggest problem with the Flash show is because the writers didn't have the balls to pull the cord on Killer Frost. Killer Frost should have just
make her full on villain.
Just make her full villain. Mm-hmm. They didn't have the balls to do it for whatever reason. And now she stayed in that nebulous state of, well, I'm a bad girl, but I'm also, and then that whole in between where she's having that self monologue between herself. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing.
Well, you need another main starring female on the show. And the only other person is Iris. And look, I'm not going to get into why they're not going to do much with Iris.
We'll get there.
But we'll get there.
But I would say Caitlin and Barry's dynamics in the beginning of the show did start off pretty strong. She was almost like a, not necessarily mentor, but she was there to talk through some of the stuff.
She explained the biological processes, especially when it came to his powers.
Yeah.
And how they affected him.
Like before Iris became like the main coach, therapist, or whatever, that was kind of Caitlin's role, because like as she's patching him up, she's like telling him about, they're talking about life and stuff.
But as the show goes on, that diminishes until now she's just babysitting.
Yeah, and then you got to look at it too. Then Caitlin starts having problems, and who the fuck is gonna talk to Caitlin? You
would think Caitlin would have friends, like a person named Iris.
Honestly, you say Caitlin was the first one. Honestly, we and I know it's kind of getting off topic, but we got to talk about Firestorm because that was part of it.
We'll get to Firestorm.
Like,
so
I do definitely see what you mean. Like Robbie Amell was a misstep in the Flash casting.
So getting off Caitlin, let's go to Iris West right quick.
Yeah.
So the problem with Iris West is that they had no idea what to do with this cat. Again,
I have a perfect question for everybody. What does Iris have a degree in? And this is not to diminish Iris West at all. I personally want to know, what does Iris have a degree in?
This is to diminish the writers, because guess what? The writers didn't give that answer.
No. And in the pilot, she was a doctoral student who was doing a dissertation on something. Maybe a doctoral, I don't know. That's the only place I know where you do dissertations. She was doing a dissertation on something.
Okay.
Then as the season progressed, she was a coffee, she was a barista.
She was a barista.
She was a blogger. She was a journalist. And so every year I'll ask people on Twitter, what does she have a degree in? I got 5 different answers from Flash fans.
She got a degree in bullshit because the writers don't know.
She never even. What season is this right now?
7, I believe.
Okay, 6 or 7.
6 or 7.
Okay, she
Let's say
was
six,
working
six.
on her dissertation.
Yeah.
Let's say at minimum she started first year. Let's say at minimum it takes 4 years. We never got a graduation episode
So I'm gonna throw something.
or
out.
a mention that she
She,
graduated.
she was in school.
So I'm
If
gonna.
you working on your dissertation, wouldn't you be in school? You not just doing that.
I do dissertations in my spare time.
I fucking don't.
I'm gonna say this. I think the change in her, what she was wanting to do, I don't think that's so much of the problem. I think the writing behind who this character is, personality wise, and what she represents in the show, period, is the problem. Because let's be real, people change their minds about what they want to do.
That's perfectly fine.
And that's cool.
The problem is they should have let us know that. that literally,
and that's what I was
if they
gonna
wanted
say.
a B storyline, if they wanted a B storyline and they wanted to have Iris be that B story, it should have been about her identity, but we never got to see that.
In all honesty, I believe the writers do not know how to write women in general.
Oh hell
when
yeah.
it comes to
Yeah.
these stories. So my problem with Iris is that every season they tried to slot her in as something different. So she was originally she's going to be the new Lois Lane in one instance. The worst thing they did was later on in season 2 or season 3 with the "We Are the Flash" comment,
That was recent.
which was no that was early in the season. The "We Are the Flash" shit.
That was a year or two ago.
That was
Yeah,
like
that
a
was
couple
like
years ago.
that was a couple.
Are you
years
sure?
ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
It
I'm
still
wrong.
persists.
Sorry, I'm wrong. Later on in the series, when Iris goes to Barry, it's like, no, we are the Flash. And at that point, everybody stopped and looked at each other like, did she really just do this shit?
I get what they were going for with that, but it was so fucking clumsy.
It was right up there with hashtag feminism. So you not only did you just try to tie your identity to a dude, and then I commend them for trying to have her train the metas. I really do.
What was this?
This is when she took over for the team, and she took over.
Barry went to the speed form.
And she took over for the training for everybody, which made absolutely no fucking sense whatsoever. I get that they try to give her a leadership role, but if you are not a meta, or you don't have any concept of the bio or human physiology or anything, what makes you qualify to train metas?
Again, I feel like I'm defending her more than criticizing her, but I'm gonna throw this out here as well.
Well, it's not about her. It's about the
It's the writing.
This is gonna be headcanon. I feel like she did that because no one else in the team would step up. Now, had the writing shown us that Caitlyn was a baby and Cisco
was crying in the corner
and lost faith or whatever,
And then she stepped in and was like, everybody get the fuck up.
That would make sense.
Exactly. And then you could make a story about, well, I'm out of my depth because I don't know anything about metas and how they work and shit like that, but I gotta keep pushing these motherfuckers to save the planet. Especially since one of them is my little brother that I didn't know about until recently.
Christian, that's good writing. That could have been a couple of episodes, but they didn't give us that. They just can't. Barry comes about, okay, I'm leading the team now. Run some laps, I guess.
Hey, stretch Armstrong. Go stretch in the corner.
She could have even did some shit where like she pulled like outside scientists because she's like, I don't know what the fuck this is. Like, you study speed. Like,
No.
do this. Help him with this. And you over there, portals, go. You a doctor.
I'm an investigative reporter. So I've already investigated cases of metas in other cities. Why don't I bring metas from other cities to fucking help the team?
Exactly.
Since the Flash isn't
And
here.
then when Barry comes back and he's like, why are all these people here? Why did things change so much? And then she could be like, they changed so much because your friends are useless. So I had to get them up and going.
Exactly.
Caitlin's a baby. Cisco's a crybaby.
See, the original arc of Iris West should have been this. She's the daughter of a detective. she's been trained to fight to handle herself because she's been teased and picked on, and her dad ain't gonna have that
You
shit.
don't even have to go that far.
Exactly. She could have trained Barry how to fight. She could have trained him on how to use common sense and basic logic. That should have been her role to help guide him in that capacity. Not only is that a strong female character, but it's an identity that she has on her own to help.
But I'm gonna tell you the deep issue behind the Iris issues, and it stems from a lot of other characters in the series. They put Iris in there as a prop. And by prop, I mean a prop so that people that look like this will watch the show. Now, I'm going to say this. Do I appreciate the fact that a lot of the characters in The Flash are people of color? Kind of, sort of. It depends on what their depiction is at the time. But the fact still remains that they felt like that they had to sacrifice story just to have those people of color in there, and Iris was the one that took the hit the most.
And you know what the most depressing part about that is? So before Supergirl came about, all the stuff you mentioned about who Iris West is as a character, who does that also sound like in DC Comics?
Lois Lane.
Exactly. The only difference is instead of the daughter of a police officer, she's the daughter of a general. They weren't doing Lois or using her. As a matter of fact, Supergirl was on fucking CBS at the earliest. You could have made Iris Lois Lane. You could have, and it would have worked. It would have worked.
But then they tried to supplement. They tried to do it at the last minute.
Yeah, they're doing it now when we don't give a shit and we're all pissed off at the show.
And now you have a new fuck around gang with her and her news crew that's starting a newspaper in the year 2020. Newspapers are a failing medium even now. That's like opening up a Blockbuster now.
So I'm gonna say this about the news crew. An idea that could have been good, but they fucked it up because they had to sacrifice character development for some of these people along the way, specifically Cecile. But I guess we'll get to her character later.
Hold on, we get to it right about now.
Let's talk about Joe and Cecile in tandem.
Okay, first of all, Joe West has always been Gibraltar's rock. He's been
the most consistent.
He has been 3.1416, the contents of fucking pie. He has always been the person I would like, this show may get dumb, but there's always Joe. I may see some of the dumbest CG in my life, but Joe West, goddammit, he's gonna get me through this episode.
And then he hurt his back because he had to carry the show for so many years. And so he left for half a season.
Oh God. And then we missed it.
And then DA Thicky fans had to step in.
So there was an arc that happened in which Joe West is finally able to move on. And, because he's been babying all these fucking children around him.
30-year-olds.
These 30-year-old children he's been babying. He finally can go out and get some, and he meets D.A. Thick. And D.A. Thick, when she got introduced, I liked her character. Mm-hmm. It was cool. It was confident. It was like...
no nonsense.
Exactly. I'm here to put criminals behind bars.
It's what we should have been getting from Iris.
Exactly. She came in and she changed the game. And then I was like, okay, cool. This may actually work. And then the Fire Nation came.
And somehow turned into a cartoon.
And she got meta powers.
She got meta powers, which was the worst thing they could have done to her. Please explain why.
So, I'm going to say this. It wasn't the powers. It was the fact that she devolved into a cartoon.
The powers was just
it was
the icing on the cake to help that along, because then it became Cecile and Cecile and Dibney and their wacky adventures as they solved the cat in the tree mystery. And it's like, we don't need to do this.
These
are two characters that have more dignity than you're allowing them to show.
Or my favorite segment of every show was Cecile. How is Cecile feeling today? Is Cecile happy? Is she upset? Is she mad? Well, that must mean a meta must be upset or happy or sad.
And then when they got tired of that,
she
put her on Iris's team.
How does she ever sit in a room with Caitlyn?
Exactly.
Like it was so insulting that you take this strong DA personality and then try to make her job govern off feelings. Like your job is to sit here and get rid of bad guys, but I don't want to put them to jail because they feel sorry for what they did. And I was like, you're a grown fucking woman. What is this?
Well,
I'm glad I missed this.
a lot of that goes back to it's kind of sexist that you give her a superpower based on emotions because that's all you think women are good for.
Hashtag feminism.
There was a scene where all four of the main women get together and high-five each other and say hashtag feminism. And
The writers let that through and thought they were doing
that
something.
that came through edits. That went through post-production. That went through final checks.
Like someone was at the computer and they was putting that thing together and they had to have rewound it several times. Like, they cringe in your ear one time.
Like I can see it across the street. They got Adobe open. They pouring a shot.
I would rather someone revoiced it and every time they say hashtag feminism, it was clearly someone saying, I'm a grown ass man. I would rather hear that.
So let's get to the piece that is his thoughts, the main failure of the Flash.
Ooh.
Barry Allen. Hold up, sorry. There's a special side nomination. Nora Allen. Oh my God.
We did. We've talked about that.
That shit breaks.
Let's not buff over that can of shit.
But Barry Allen, essentially, it was the main reason to the failure of this show and its decline. And it all boils down to the writing of the fact that he is the boy who refuses to grow the fuck up.
Pinocchio.
And this whole show seems to be placated around the fact that we can't make Barry feel sad. We have to hold his hands. He has to be coddled because everybody has to be Barry's parents.
He has to get a pass on everything he does, even bad stuff.
Anytime he did anything that was fucking horrific, the show would never let it linger and let you blame Barry. It was all, hey, it's everybody. We need to get together and make Barry feel good. But if anybody else did anything, they were ostracized. And that shit wore on me for so long. I was like, this is...
And a prime example is every time a new cast member comes, or let's just use Dibney as an example. Like, you would have thought Dibney killed his mom the way he treated him when he first came on the show. Like I almost heard him say, "Motherfucker, you killed my mama," and Dibney was like, "What?"
I'll never forget when the whole shit went down with Nora and Sherlock told them this heifer is up to something. and then when she validated his feelings and everybody looked at him like he did it.
Get out, Sherlock.
Exactly.
This is a family.
He finally breaks it down and shows them evidence because they weren't gonna believe them. And even Iris was like, "Stay away from my daughter." And then he was like, "Here's the evidence in front of you guys." And then everybody, the entire cast, turned on Sherlock, which and treated him like an outcast. But then when Barry found out that this piece of shit daughter was working with his arch enemy, how long did it take care of him to throw her ass into the future?
A second.
First of all, he threw her in jail.
First of all, it took him less than a second to throw her ass and discard her like she was trash.
Yeah.
So when Barry feels like it, it's okay. Mm-hmm. But when people telling you she is setting us up, she is lying. She's lying on all these accounts. Why won't you guys?
Like the way the other cast members are treated is disproportionate to the way Barry is treated when it comes to specific situations.
And nobody apologized to that man.
Especially if you're a new person coming onto that team. I could never be new and come onto that team, and then by the end of the episode, they're like, well, we accept you now. Because I would be like, fuck everyone in this room.
Case in point,
And then I'd knock some shit over as I left. Like,
wait, what's the most expensive shit?
Start pushing on buttons.
Case in point, when Magenta joins the team.
I don't even know who that is.
That's the chick. That's the chick with the. Oh, I might be saying her name wrong. With the light power, with the microwave power.
Oh, okay.
Wait, who is this?
Sorry, that's not Magenta.
Magenta was the little girl.
Was the little girl. The girl with the microwave powers.
Flashlight?
Yeah.
Flashlight. When Flashlight joined the team, and she was on the team for months, and Iris is going like, we need to investigate, report, we need to expose this person, but you can tell her that you're dating the Flash.
That you're married to.
Married to the Flash.
And here's the thing, he has a secret identity. I get that, but here's the thing. If you're like creating businesses and shit around the fact that this motherfucker is around, like, and especially something where it's like, I report you the Flash. I report on you every fucking day. You make me money, and then I bring Ken in, and then like Ken could be like, motherfucker, that's like, there's rules against that. Journalistic integrity. What the fuck?
And that's what she said too. She was like, wait a second. You say your whole thing is hunting for the truth, but then when I find out through my own means that your husband is the Flash, you don't want me to tell nobody. How is that even how?
And on top of that, I was a better reporter than you.
Yeah. Well, let's get back to Barry.
Okay.
Let's talk about some of the fuck ups that really stand out.
Oh, when he killed Cisco's brother. That one? Would you like to start with that one? How about when he changed the Speed Force for his own personal gain?
What about when he erased Diggle's daughter from reality?
Personally, I was going to bring up Flashpoint. and the ripples that caused after they specifically told him not to take his monkey ass back to the past. And what does he do at the end of the episode?
Take his monkey ass back.
Took his monkey ass back to the past.
Not only that, this motherfucker packed a lunch.
Oh, and I'm sorry to divert again, speaking of that, and then because we have to validate everything that Barry does, let's flash forward to this current season, and Jay Allen was like, yeah, you should have went back in time. you should have time traveled. That was the right thing to do.
Man, get that guy.
Like, and it's funny you brought that up because.
But did you guys notice though when Cisco was upset by the whole brother thing, everybody looked at Cisco like he needed to get the fuck over it?
Yeah, and that's what really irked me because it's funny you bring up the Jay Garrick thing because when he talked to him after Flashpoint. When I knew that Barry Allen was a garbage person was when Jay Garrick sat there in that diner and told him straight to with that cup and told him straight to his face, you can never undo those changes you did. That shit's fucking permanent. And I was like, you are fucking disgusting. Like, I literally looked at the screen and I was like, he's fucking disgusting. Now let's see how they handle it.
He's a selfish baby, man child, whatever. And he wants what he wants, which seems to be his mother.
So Oedipus complex.
And it's like anytime he gets into trouble or he faces something hard, he's like, but I don't think I can do this, Cyrus. I'm not the hero I thought I was. And everybody gonna go, here's your cookie, Barry. Barry, it's gonna be okay. I remember my favorite episode is when I forgot what some speedster was whooping his ass, and then pick one. And then Wally shows up, and Wally shows way more potential than Barry has, but because they gotta play Kate Barry on this, Barry's like, hey, Wally. Here, you do it. You do everything. I need you. Here, as a matter of fact, what my lightning bolt? You can defeat Salazar or Savitar. It's up to you. And then the show made him trip on a banana peel and he broke his leg and some shit. Now Barry got to fight his own battles. But anytime Barry's in a situation where he's cornered and can't face it like a man, they gotta send somebody to go and suck his dick. To the point,
a minority.
it's either a minority or Or when they try to do something special, they'll send Oliver. So
I was just about to say, like, even CW, the channel 69, they know it because during Crisis, Barry was like, Oliver was like, I can't let Barry be sad. I gotta let him know it's okay that I'm gonna die. Like
that
he
was the last
should
thing on his
live.
mind.
Barry, Barry, come here. As a matter of fact,
Instead of making sure his garbage daughter was someone.
almost like Barry knew, almost like Oliver knew, if I die, Barry's gonna be so sad that he's gonna run to heaven to come for me. And I won't be there because I'm clearly going to hell.
that's why he broke the speed. On the way out, he was like, "Fuck this."
No more Speed Force. So, all right, I want to get into.
I'm sorry. And then Wally over there in the corner like, bitch, what the fuck?
Where Speed Force go? It's like Wally was in the back, like watching porno or playing video games, and somebody cut the internet out. He just came out.
Hey, yo, bitch!
What Speed Force said? But all in all, it's like we cannot make Barry sad, and the writers show this even when Iris is supposed to die, and you take.
Okay. Oh, sorry. We're gonna get to that.
When Iris is supposed to die, but we know that Barry will be sad, so we kill a core member of the team to satiate Barry.
And that's actually what I want to get into. They do all this prophecy shit like somebody major is gonna die this season. It's gonna be Iris. It's gonna be Barry. It's their time to go to the crossroads. And last minute, they get bailed out.
Every time. Like, it's not even funny anymore.
Even with Crisis, that whole first half of that season didn't mean anything. All that bullshit he was talking, I gotta prepare the team because I'm gonna die.
The whole time.
And then fate came in because we can't have that Barry die, so we'll get this busted up Barry from 1992 and he'll die. And
and this is what I call horse.
Take responsibility for your shit. Be the hero that you're supposed to be.
And this is what I call horse shit. Because not only, even though he a fuckboy, but I don't even want to get into it. Even though the Monitor himself came up and was like, this version of Barry Allen, Barry Hussein Allen, is going to fucking die. And Barry himself went into the Speed Force and saw every incarnation of his timeline and saw that the only one where we survive is where he dies. Not a Flash. Barry Hussein Allen.
You have fucked the fuck out of that agent.
You put a W in front of it.
And because the CW loves the 11th hour, them motherfuckers said, Hussein, no, I meant Jared.
His alternate universe self looked and said, I'm a bitch in this world. I'm gonna have to be the man to do it, because he hesitated too hard to get on the treadmill.
Because he was over there like, but what about Iris? What about Joe? What about my pet cactus? What about my junk?
That Barry, I was like, it's a bitch ass. He got on the treadmill, was like, bye Iris. Bye everybody.
Like that one literally told Barry to suck it. Y'all didn't catch it because it was super fast. He told Barry to suck his dick. Because he literally got on the treadmill, screamed thug like and ran. Let me tell you how bad it is. They don't just satiate the Flash Barry Allen. They also satiate Barry Allen, the CSI, the CIA. the CSI.
Oh.
Oh my God! So it was one episode when the Flash was retiring or some bullshit, and Joe holds an honor in front of everybody for Barry Allen for being one of the best CSIs out there for helping them catch criminals.
that. I know what episode you was talking about because this was during that season again. Shit, my eye. During that season again when Barry was quote unquote preparing everybody for him to die, and he needed to get Elongated Man up to snuff because apparently he's not old enough, and so he was gonna.
Y'all do realize that's this season.
Yeah, I know. It's so fucking bad. Who cares? But Barry was gonna hand over the city to their new god, and then Joe just couldn't let Disney have it.
He couldn't let the moisture. Wait. He couldn't let the moisture dry on the elongated man's dick before he was like, no. Barry Allen, come back here. Your penis is too dry. And they sucked the dick of Barry Allen in front of everybody for 5 minutes.
And if I'm a CI or crime scene investigator or forensics expert or whatever, no, take that back. If I'm Draco Malfoy from 3 seasons ago where they was butting heads and shit, I would be pissed because I go out there and I get bullets flung at my ass every day too, and y'all giving him a Medal of Honor.
And he show up late. His work is sloppy.
He took a fucking sabbatical.
Seriously, this is the equivalent of another white man said this white man is fucking up, and y'all don't do shit.
Hold on. No, get me this nigga took a 6 month break. He just took 6 months off jail, off work. He just left for 6 months.
He went to jail too.
But for him, it was summer camp. He ain't getting no ass whooping. He got 3 meals a day.
He was
better meals than.
They promised us he was gonna get jumped in prison. Then this dude rolled out, your dad protected my butt in jail, so I'm gonna protect you. What the fuck? No, he should be getting stomped out early.
I'm sorry. That Barry Allen should have been passed around day one.
Oliver and Jefferson got it worse than him when they went to jail in their show.
So not only has
this motherfucker went to summer camp.
They gave him juice and cookies.
Exactly.
So not only did Barry go to jail, not only has he been late to his job, not only did he bounce for 6 months and still able to keep his job, but they awarded him. And hold on.
For all of that shit.
They awarded him in front of the entire police department. Mind you, these police are regular as fuck. All right, they go out every day
and fight super villains,
superhumans with a badge and a gun, and now recently Metatech. But they are on the front line. First of all, fuck the police. But they go out on the front lines in Central City and do this shit daily when they know any medic can pop off and just kill them. And for you
but this glorified janitor, because that's what you are. By the way, right now you're not essential.
So I guess let's just round this off with the overall beef that we have with the show. For me, and I guess you guys probably might agree, the overall campiness really brought the show down. Some people seem to appreciate that or like that aspect of the show. Me personally, I don't. Like, it gets cartoonish after a while.
Scooby-Doo-ish.
Scooby-Doo-ish, cartoonish. It just...
So here's my thing. I feel like they dumped it down. I feel like the show dumped down to a degree that I can't take it seriously as a person of my age. And I can watch silly stuff and stuff that's supposed to be tongue in cheek and enjoy it. But when you're given, but here's my thing, and there's a lot of shit wrapped up in this because like a lot of people think, well, Supergirl is corny, and I don't watch Supergirl. I don't give a fuck about Supergirl. But from what I hear, they have been trying to do better as a show. And if you think Supergirl is too fucking corny, and you over here watching The Flash, and you think it's the best superhero show out there, like you got other problems. But I just think I can't, as a grown ass man, I can't take Flash seriously, and that's saying a lot.
Here's my issue. Flash doesn't take any chances or take any risk. It follows the same model from season to season, and it's afraid to let anybody shine outside of Barry.
I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but even as dumb as Arrow got a lot of times, like I took it seriously.
Because there were real stakes on the line.
Mm-hmm.
And it always seems like no matter what happened in Flash, we can always clean the slate and start something new. That was my biggest issue with Wells is like, oh, we can kill off of Wells because
Wells are disposable.
Yeah,
we can get
we can just go get another one. I thought, how sociopathic is that you build it up in this universe where people are like, hey, you know that guy that we like who helps us in our most direst of hours, that guy who's willing to sacrifice himself, that guy who's willing to leave his family to come over here and help us. Yeah, fuck that guy. We can always go get another one, and there's always one at our beck and call whenever we need one.
And to show how negligible they felt about him, they killed his fucking universe off.
Exactly. Jesse Quick, all that gone.
Mm-hmm.
So when you show lack of compassion for the character, one of the driving forces of your show, the mentor that's guiding your superhero to the state where he needs to be, when you show a lack of responsibility for your females, what is that state for the female leads in your show, that they basically don't have a place in your show? They're just sitting here bobbing around waiting for the male lead to move. Mm-hmm. They can't move independently of their own, and which they started doing recently, but there's nothing serious.
But before then, Iris depended on Barry as a crutch. Caitlin depended on Firestorm. Like, her storyline was literally driven by Firestorm till they killed him off. I would even say Cecile is kind of driven by whatever Joe does.
Or Dibney.
Or Dibney.
So
that ain't even her man.
So you make them so codependent. And then again, there's no, like you said, no depth to the show. Why do I care about these characters? What is it about them that makes them relatable to me? Because at this stage of the game, there's nothing but... Only person, like I said, I can relate to was Joe. And I can't even relate to him to the fact that he has children that are fucking each other. I relate to Joe in the sense of he's a man in a chaotic situation, trying to make sense and keep his family in straight and narrow, but find his way.
If we supposed to relate to Barry, they failed on that because I never got off the hook for any of the shit that I did.
And I'll say this, and I know this probably doesn't really, this is probably something people don't think about or correlate to, and it'll probably hit people a little different. But one of the things I liked about Joe, which I thought was an outlier in the show, and I kind of think it's a reason why Wally left the show for a little bit. Joe, that actor got to essentially kind of be himself, kind of have I'm going to say it, a black identity. That was the closest we got to a black identity on that show. Because Iris don't have it. Nope. Cisco doesn't really have a Latino identity except for that one time he spoke Spanish. It's almost like they scared of it.
And we barely get any depth with any other character unless it relates to Barry somehow. Mm-hmm. We don't learn about Cisco's family or origin unless it relates to Barry, which is selfish. Mm-hmm. I know it's his show, but you can expound on other characters and their histories.
And the reason why I bring that up is because outside of Black Lightning, The Flash is the most diverse CW superhero show. It's fucking 50% black. Like, I kind of want to see a little more, like the only time I see him ever get to be black is when he's playing jazz music or something, because he that old black man. He get to be that.
But there seems to be no social issues going on in this world. Everybody with meta power, like there's no depth. Once I get meta powers, I'm most 9 times out of 10 gonna be a villain.
Oh, all the racism was in Freeland, that's why.
Okay. But they never go any deeper. Like they never go expound into like what's it like for Iris to be a woman, a mixed. Just being her in the position that she's in, knowing that her husband can die at any moment,
which is why the hashtag feminism rings so fucking false, because up until that moment, you never gave a fuck about feminism or what it's like to be a woman on that show.
Iris and Caitlyn are not really friends.
No, they're not.
They don't hang out.
They just know the same white man. That's literally it.
And that's another problem that I have with the show is like the women can't be strong on their own. They can't have identities outside of the Flash. Like they can't have a separate set of friends that they hang out with. No, they all have to be shut-ins.
Even when you tried to do that with the news crew, like the whole shit hinges on if the Flash does anything so that they can run out and investigate it or whatnot.
What is it that's stopping us from watching the show? Really?
I think for me is that like I feel like look, I can watch cartoons. I watched DuckTales last weekend when it premiered. That's essentially for children. But the Flash tries to treat you like you do not have the intelligence to grasp anything more than what they put in front of you. They insult your intelligence. They act like children on the show, and they treat you like you're a child. And that I can't jive with, and that's why I can't really watch the show anymore.
The reason why I can't watch the show anymore and I gave up is because one, the writers have shown that they don't care outside of big events anymore. If it's nothing to do with the big events, they can let the story slack because the season doesn't matter because we have crossovers. On top of that, like you said, with the whole insulting our intelligence, they don't know how to write their characters because you'll have a character who can essentially stop time, but at the same time, it's too late to catch somebody getting into a car. It's too many inconsistencies in the writing. Like, I just literally saw you guys do an episode where Barry was in the Speed Force for literally the whole episode, and time didn't progress past 2 seconds. But yet, a lady throws a rock and hits him in the face that he sees coming, and I'm like, what's going on here? Which one is it?
Exactly.
Honestly, for me, look, if I wanted to watch a black-centric superhero show or a superhero show with a lot of minorities in it, Black Lightning is there, Supergirl, not Batwoman, but Supergirl, maybe Legends, I would deal with those. But I feel like what they do to the minorities on the Flash is not worth me sitting through watching it. When all the other shows that I mentioned, specifically Black Lightning, have more dignified characters on there. Hell, is it too far of a reach to say the minorities on Arrow were more dignified than on Flash?
I mean, similar issues, but they probably had a little bit more depth to them. For me, I just gotta say I got tired of the lack of shine that the other characters can get. So kind of similar to what you're saying. Like, I wanted to see more about Cisco's life. I want to see other characters kind of grow more powerful in a sense. Like, Wally West came and went, and we knew that Wally West should definitely outshine Barry Allen at some point. But
they was too scared.
I mean, the show is called The Flash. It doesn't have to be about Barry Allen. It can transition to new Flashes at some point. Like, they were scared to pull the trigger on letting Kid Flash take that mantle at some point.
Well, not just that, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but you bring up a good point, because one of the outline episodes that I saw that was actually good was the one where Dibney got to do his own thing. Dibney, it was a show specifically around Dibney and his investigation, and he brought Barry along for the ride. Actually, if they did a show centered around Dipney, that'd be very watchable because it shows that he's competent in what he's doing. His investigatory abilities are very high, and he's competent as a human being. And then that same scenario where Barry was allowed to tag along, he was literally a fucking child. He didn't know how to walk like a grown up, how to talk about grown up things. It was ridiculous. He fell that far when it came to talking to adults. And that's pretty much the structure of the writing of the show. The main character does not know how to be an adult. And he's fucking 30-something.
It's funny you bring up how the show is called The Flash, and it doesn't have to be specifically about Barry. So in the comic books, when Crisis on Infinite Earths happened, that happened in 1984, 1985. Barry Allen dies in that, in case anyone didn't know. Wally takes up the mantle after that, and Barry didn't get the mantle back until the mid-2000s, I'm thinking. So for me, as someone who's watching that, and I'm sure for practically everyone on that cast, Wally West, for me, was the Flash my entire life. I knew of Barry, but I never read anything he was in, unless they was talking about him in a memory or some bullshit.
Bullshit.
All the cartoons that I watched with Flash in it was Wally.
You're right.
So it's weird to me. Well, I know why DC Comics as a whole is pushing Barry so hard, but it's weird to me that they don't try to pull that trigger and say, let Wally take the wheel for a while.
I think it's fucking, just even more than that, it's fucking insulting that this 30-year-old man is still going by Kid Flash.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Let's be real, you're fucking 30.
So there's a lot of problems with the show, not just with the characters, but the structural writing.
The writing,
the
behind the scenes stuff I've heard about. One of the showrunners, they had to kick out of there because he was Me Too got him. I just put it like that.
But there's a lot of elements. But there's a lot of elements in the show that was failing that made it live long past its expiration date. Honestly, the show should have ended a couple of seasons ago.
The villains have not really been compelling at all.
No, I mean
at all.
Fucking Gorilla Grodd is a disappointment. The fucking shark, like
I kid you not. After the first Gorilla Grodd episode, every season after that, and I don't do it on purpose. It just kind of happens. I skip those episodes, and I don't feel bad about skipping them. I
because
never go back and watch.
It's a running joke.
It's a cartoon.
Exactly. Like
literal cartoon.
I never go back and watch them. Like I don't even register that I missed them. And I just keep watching the show. And I sure missed this one because I ain't watching anything past that Valentine.
But these are the reasons why we stopped watching the show. It wasn't fun anymore. I mean, yeah, we used to poke fun at it and tear it a new one every now and then. But
how many times
we started saying the same things after week.
And to be fair, it is fun making fun of the show with y'all. And getting you guys' reactions from what we saw and what we talk about. But after a while, like, it's not enjoyable because it's like they not even trying to. Have you ever eaten oatmeal or grits with nothing in them? Now do that every day.
Like there's no growth, there's no development.
And here's a secret. We actually did a review on The Flash, or Ken did the review. He stopped watching the show 15 minutes in and predicted the rest of the show in his review, and you wouldn't have known the wiser.
Yeah,
I did
like he left the room. We won't tell you what episode it is.
Oh no, it was a couple episodes.
He left the fucking room, and then did the review and was doing the review while we was watching the rest of it. He couldn't hear it. He couldn't see it. He just did the review. And when we went back and we didn't check the editing, we went and watched it when y'all watched it when it premiered on YouTube, and he was fucking correct. He didn't miss a beat.
Stop being fun.
It's almost like he filmed the episode.
One time I just cut the green screen off because I was just that upset. I couldn't take it.
Yeah. If the thing we always said is if they don't try, why should we?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now you guys hear our rationale and reason behind it. But maybe you guys like it for some reason, and if so, comment at the bottom in the comments why, and we'll tell you why you're wrong. But thank you guys for joining us on this journey as we went full blast on the Flash. Now you guys kind of know where we sit. But like and subscribe.
We're watching Harley Quinn now.
Oh yeah.
We're going to start reviewing Harley Quinn. Watch that.
And there will be other shows we'll review too. And who knows? There may be another show that goes down that garbage path, and we'll probably be going hard on it like we did The Flash till we get sick of it or it gets canceled.
By the way, I cannot wait for Titans. Titans is gonna be that shit.
You know they bringing back that Bruce Wayne.
I will fight you. I will fight you.
We'll talk about Titans later.
All right.
I guess we're gonna have to jump on Titans now so that we can review.
But like and subscribe. There's plenty more content coming for you guys. But until next time, God, fuck the Flash.